Hello everybody and welcome to another video. My name is Alex and today we are going to be doing a Pokemon starter tier list. Now I see a lot of these and I get pretty frustrated because they put my favorites near the middle or the bottom and they put some of the sprites that I really don't like near the top. And so let's see if you guys agree with me. This is a very controversial topic, so if you guys get mad, feel free to tell me what you disagree with. But without further ado, let's get started. Uh, Actually, just for reference, I started in Gen 4, so this was my starters when I was growing up, and I did playthroughs with all of them. Then I played Gen 5, and I replayed quite a few of the early gens. So I do not have the same nostalgia for gens 6 through 8. I did start up again back with Paldea, sorry, and I quite enjoyed that. Aside from the obvious graphical and performance issues, I'm not gonna excuse those. But I feel like the heart of the game was really fun. But like I said, without further ado, those are some of my biases, and let's get started with Bulbasaur. I think the early starters are really hard to go wrong with. I would almost put all of them in A tier. They have quite a bit of similarities. They're simple, cute, they're monsters, pocket monsters, as some would say. But if I had to put, I mean, many people would want one of these in S tier or all of them in S tier, but they honestly don't speak out to me too much. Their designs are all great and they're simple, and I appreciate that. Chikorita, I'm sorry for the Chikorita lovers. It's not the worst. I had a playthrough with it as well when I did Heart Gold Soul Silver. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. That was also obviously in my era that I was playing. But you gotta go and see it here. You are just not quite. I mean, Cyndaquil, for me, some people think he's too simple. I don't think you can get much cuter than Cyndaquil. I have a custom crocheted Cyndaquil. He is very cute. He's not necessarily one of my favorite Pokemon all time, but he's definitely up there. Probably top 5% at least. So he is great. Totodile, in my heart, I would like to put him in S tier. He's probably more of an A tier guy. Croconaw, I know we're not doing midlines, but there are associations with him. He's great. I love Feraligatr, the old goofy sprites. But I did a playthrough, I remember, again with all three of these, and I ended up, I would have different teams every time, but one of my teams, maybe one of my first teams when I fully beat the game with Red and his level 88 Pikachu and his level 80, all his team, all in the 80s, I had Feraligatr in the mid 60s and an Ampharos in the mid 60s. And I was just getting fainted over and over and having to just use all my revives. And I eventually beat him by just spamming items as a kid. And it was scummy, but I was like 20 levels under leveled because there was just not much experience in Johto. The final gym leader is like 40 with Claire and her Dragonair or something. Anyway, let's keep going. Trico, for me, the designs of this line are some of the best in the series. Easy S for me. I think you really can't go wrong with any of the Hoenn starters. I feel like they are all great. Some people would say S tier. I know a lot of people want Mudkip in S tier. I think he could go there. But personally, well, I think if I had the same nostalgia, I would put him in S tier. Torchic probably stays down here. Very cute, A tier. Don't get me wrong, I'm not insulting Torchic. Just not quite as... I think there's nothing wrong with anybody in A tier. It's just there's like some hidden element in some of the sprites in S tier that kicks them a little bit above for me. Speaking of which, Turtwig, probably my favorite starter of all time. Chimchar right behind that. Obviously, there's nostalgia, but these are very highly rated in a lot of. I feel like these 12 right here are always B tier or higher in a lot of lists, so take that as you will. I think a lot of this just comes down to internal biases. You might say, wow, this is a really top heavy list. It will not stay that way, I promise. Piplup, I have to put A tier. I love Piplup. I think Empoleon is debatably my favorite final evolution out of Gen 4, because it just has such a cool design, a great typing. Unfortunately, it doesn't live up to that typing and design as well with some of the stats and move pool. But moving on, Snivy. I also love Snivy. Snivy was my first pick in Unova. Servine is not quite as appealing, but Superior is also incredible in my opinion. Defensive Pokemon, the Leaf Blade animation in Gen 5 was pretty fun, but let's keep going. I'm going to do Oshawott. Let's go B here. I also love Oshawott. He's very cute. I don't think quite as perfect or appealing as some of these guys, so I'll stick him in B tier. Tepig, also had playthroughs with Tepig, but he is definitely not perfect, so he's going to be a C tier starter. Now here's where people are going to start to get frustrated. Chespin, I feel like has to go in D tier. He is one of the ugliest lines in all of Pokemon. In my opinion, I understand what his design is supposed to be, but my oh my, this did not entice me to play Pokemon. Fennekin, I would love to put them in D, but because I really dislike the humanoid in general evolutions of Gen 6, not that, Infernape is much different or, Grovyle in that line, but yeah, I might move Fennekin up to C. Froakie, I think easy B tier, maybe an A tier if it wasn't so loaded. I feel like it's worth an A tier. Maybe Snivy moves. No, I can't have them in the same. Can't have this in the same as Oshawott. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely top heavy, but that's just how it goes. Rowlet's very cute. Fan favorite. I love Rowlet. I don't think I love it quite as much as some of the other ones. I would definitely pick it, but it could easily be A tier. It's probably like in between these. Litten, I feel like a very normal starter, not particularly exciting to me. I think if the evolutions were different, but maybe some of my biases would be gone, but it also just evolves into a wrestling giant cat, and obviously Incineroar is one of the best competitive Pokemon of all time, but that's not, and I love competitive, but that is not where I'm basing my love for the starters on. Popplio, I quite enjoy Popplio, and it has a less humanoid model, and it has overall just pretty fun evolution line, so B tier for you. Grookey, gotta go C tier. Pretty cute guy, but again, what the heck is the Thwackey? I have no clue what that is. And then just much less appealing to me than Chimchar in like basically every way. No offense. A lot of people like Grookey. I'm sorry. Sobble. I mean, I could go D tier. I just don't think it's as bad as Chespin. Sobble itself is very cute. It's not the best. It's not, in my opinion, it's the same tier as these guys. But again, while some of these guys, I'm thinking particularly maybe these three are maybe equal on the cuteness factor, or just how appreciable, what's the word? How easy it is to appreciate some of these sprites compared to these sprites. Some of the evolutions and biases, I mean, it is just not as good for them. Now we're getting into, oh, I should do Score Bunny. I don't know why you're over there. Score Bunny, I really also don't love Score Bunny. I think Gen 8 as a whole has to go down here for me. These all just kind of feel similarly not my favorite. And then I'm gonna be I'm gonna try to be reasonable with the Paldea starters as well. Sprigatito, very cute. Unfortunately, evolves to be a little bit too humanoid. I would put it in B. I mean, I think B's fair. I do think it is just undeniably more appealing than some of these other ones. I mean, this is a very cute grass cat. And the final design is not, I think, as hated as some of these others. So B, but I would say a low B. Quaxley, very cute as well. I mean, not necessarily, I almost want to put him here because I feel like there was so much. The reason that I'm putting him in D tier, I don't think he's much different from some of these guys, but I've given my reasons. But I feel like after Gen 6 through 8, they got so much feedback about being humanoid, and then they still did it with Quaxley. I definitely appreciate the later generations after Gen 5 having like a more flamboyant like water type. A lot of people love that. That's not really my reason for that at all. I feel like you can make a very fun, like beautiful vibe to a Pokemon, and have gone a different direction than Quaquaval. Quaxley himself is not that bad, definitely not as bad as Chespin, but just because there's so many generations separating and it doesn't have the same appeal as Sprigatito, those are my reasons for that. Fuecoco, I love Fuecoco. Fuecoco is the one that I picked. I think he also has to go B. Fuecoco is just, his middle evolution is pretty terrible. His final stage evolution is, in my opinion, probably the one that I'm happiest the most with. It's just a big fire alligator. I feel like that's great. I appreciate the design with Crocolore, the egg that's going to hatch eventually, into the torch song onto his head, basically. But I don't know how else they would have executed that. But Fuecoco himself is, I don't think, going to pay quite the price for Crocolore's sins. So I quite enjoy Fuecoco. I don't think he's quite on the same level of some of these guys who are just much more consistent. And yeah, that's my list. There's not necessarily an order aside from S tier, I believe. None of these other tiers are in order. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know cordially what you disagree with. And thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And have a great day. Thanks. Bye.